After interacting with about 52 pig farmers across 7 different countries in Africa, this is what I came out with. I'm always interested in knowing what other people are also doing somewhere, especially when it aligns with what I'm doing, and that is farming, pig farming. So I decided to reach out to a lot of them online through WhatsApp and also phone calls just to get to know what they're also doing and what the struggles they go through. And the surprising thing is, all these people I interacted with quit pig farming. They are no longer into pig farming anymore. And I decided to let them share their stories with us. So the first one they said was like it all began as a dream for them. Starting pig farming was a dream for them. Simple because they read the stories about successful pig farmers and how people are making it big in this industry. So their dream was also to be the next hit in the industry that people start to talk about them. So once they got that, all they did was to channel their life savings into it. So after that, their first mistake started coming up. And something that was very common among all these people I contacted was none of them did enough research. They just heard about it and they had the money somewhere. They just went, picked the money, invested into piggery until the unforeseen happened. And research is not about just being formal and then writing everything or carrying out surveys and all that, but it can be as simple as reaching out to people who are already into this big farming business. Like myself here, if you reach out to me, Francis, what are the challenges you do? And one basic thing about aspiring farmers is that usually they don't want you to talk about the difficulties you're facing. They just jump in. Is it profitable? Are you making money? How much can you make from these animals? Without asking, what does it take to produce one pig from piglet stage to maturity? Okay, so that is something if you want to go into any business. Don't just be blinded by the potential gains, but you have to dig deep and find the root, how people are able to make it and to survive. Usually, get knowing how to survive is the most important thing. Because definitely, if you're able to survive, the money you're looking for will definitely come. So all you need to do is to know how to survive. Ask people about the challenges. What are some of the challenges you encounter? Please, can you share some of them with me? How are you able to go about all this? But among these people that I interacted with, they didn't do that. They had the money lying there idle, and then from reading the books online, they got started. And that was the first mistake most of them did. So you know what? Once you have just jumped because of what you read online, you jump into pig farming. So they didn't also know how to even formulate feed for the animals, and they didn't even know anything about the feeding because it is stated that pigs eat anything at all. So they just went by it, started feeding whatever they have available until they realized that their animals are not performing better at all, which they have to rethink. Another issue was also about the financial aspect. Pig farming, if you're not careful, you can never track your expenses and your progress on the farm. Most of the people, like we think we can keep everything on in our head. It's not true. We are only deceiving yourself. Write it down or you type it and save it either in the cloud or somewhere so that you can always access it. Even if it is an amount as small as one Ghana city or just $1, you need to account for it in your books. Write it down. That is how you get to track what you're doing. But what these people did was the feed they buy, the medicines they buy, they don't even look at how much it is costing them because they have the money there. They thought as it is read in the books, it was going to produce the results they needed in the shortest time possible. So no need for them to even keep these records until they got to know that it isn't so. Before they realize they have exhausted their entire savings and then went back into borrowing even keep the farm going. And the next challenge most of them face that also led to them to quit the pig farming is the marketing. It's not easy. I must say to you, it is not easy. Looking at the nature of farming these days, especially pigs, it's not easy. You know, pig is a special animal, and it's not everybody that consumes pork. So getting the market, like a reliable market, is always a challenge. If you have a loyal buyer who has been buying from you all the time, there will be a time they will come to buy and then they were reluctant to give you the money. And not that they don't have the money, they have it. But they know that if they should be a bit reluctant and you are struggling to get the market, you might come down a bit with your pricing. You might lower your prices for them to be able to accommodate you. So mostly marketing is not easy. Marketing of these animals is not easy unless you use a lot of strategies and then put in a lot of effort before you be able to get people to buy your animals. It will be very, very frustrating if you get to that stage where your animals are ready, you don't do anything with them again. All you need is for them to go off the farm and bring you the money you need to raise the younger ones. Yet these animals are there. People will come and give you some annoying prices. You look at them and you think these people are even inhuman to the extent of why will you do this to a fellow human who has taken his time to raise an animal from this stage, about 7 months, you spend to raise this animal, and you come and pass it very cheaply like this. See, if you enter this business and you don't take heart, I must tell you, frustration alone will kill you before the animals start to stress you. Okay, so marketing is a very challenging issue in this industry, and people are really, really struggling to get market for them. So, like I always say, also tell you that you start small. If you are watching this and this is the time for you to start, or you are planning to start it, you start small. Maybe a manageable number, five is okay, six is okay, and then you start from there. You grow your farm and expand it from there, whilst you're also growing with your customer base. Very simple like that. But if you come in 20, 30 pigs all at a go, and then you start breeding them, I must tell you, latest by 2, 3 months, you start to stress, you leave. That is after you have given birth. You will stress yourself and your mind will be lost in the process. Okay, so all of them, like these people, all these people I interacted with, what I came out to find is that they have learned their lessons, but in a very hard way. I must say, most of them, like they want to come back, but they have lost it completely that they can't even get the money to start again. But the good thing is they have also picked some lessons from what they did. One of it is for them to do enough research. And with the research, it's either they read the books, after that, they go to the farmers who are practicing it, not theory farmers, but people who are practicing it. You go to the farm, have your eye witness what is happening. Then you can confirm for yourself that yes, what I am about to enter, I am actually ready to venture this. And should anybody stop me, I'm going to punch the person in the face. Otherwise, you've not done enough research. And you need to also do the research on marketing. Get to know the people in your area, because the first line of your market is just where your farm is located. Just start scouting that area. If you scout the area, see that people are there and then they consume pork, you look at the trend, how often and what time do they consume more. If those people, like, they are not meeting your farming goals, the next one is to now expand. That is where you leave the location of your farm and then go outside, like a bit distant from your location, to get the market. It does not mean that if you start your farm in this community, you should still sell your animals to the community. You can have your production center here, and then the end users will be somewhere distant, miles away from your farm. You supply to them at the right time. You can do that. So you need to do the research about what you intend to do, because pig farming is a bit intensive, capital intensive indeed, and you need to invest especially in feed. Feeding is the actual thing we are talking about here. About your 70% of your entire cost. If you see any pig farmer complaining of pig farming is becoming too expensive, it is all boils down to the feeding cost. You need to budget a lot for feeding. For maintenance and veterinary, it doesn't cost that much, but feeding is the actual cost you will incur as a farmer. If you start this business, you don't have to say you can remember everything. No, you are only lying to yourself. You can't remember anything. You have to write everything down. Besides, your mind should be free to think about the business, the expansion plans you have for the business, and not to be keeping figures. So anything you buy, make sure you document it down, write it in a book, save it in your PC or even in your mobile phone. It's better. That one, anywhere you are, you can easily access your farm and look at how the farm is performing. This is good for record keeping sake. And again, you need to also be very, very resilient. That's what I'm saying. If you want to enter into any business, ask about people who are already conquering that space, what they are facing on the daily basis. Don't be too interested in the monetary aspect of it. How much do you make? How profitable is it? Don't be too interested in that side. But ask them, what are some of the challenges you face on this farm or in this business? How are you able to overcome some of them? Has there been any instance where you felt like giving up? You say yes. What is keeping you going? They'll tell you. And then you assess yourself. Am I ready to accept these things? If yes, fine, you go into it. With that, any time an issue pops up, you revisit your initial response to, am I ready for this?